Welcome, friends. For the next hour, you will be entertained, educated, and perhaps even enlightened by my panel of real estate, legal, and financial experts. I'm Jim Lowenstern, and this is my radio talk show. If you're at home listening to this program, either on the radio or streaming on the internet, you should feel free to call our studios at any time over the next hour if you have a question for any of my guests today. To keep it a little competitive and to give you the encouragement you need to pick up the phone and actually dial after eating all that turkey and stuffing over the last few days, I will have my guests decide which call deserves a brunch for two at the Biltmore Restaurant in Newton. That's Newton, Mass., just in case you're listening to us anywhere outside of the Massachusetts broadcast area. 50,000 watts high up on the AM dial probably doesn't mean that much as far as broadcast coverage, but if you are on the internet listening, when you call us, please let us know where you are calling from. The Biltmore, by the way, has great chicken and waffles. Also, check out jimlowenstern.com for more info. And the phone number here is 617-237-1234. We're broadcasting from Marina Bay in Quincy, Massachusetts. It's also an 800 number. Let's see, 1-866-338. What's the last four digits?
9663.
9663. And that's Jennifer Giuliano, who's also in our studio today. There's Jason Bonarigo, and there's Gina. Oh, Gina's not here. Where is Gina? You got to send her in. Gina Jordan. Okay, so let's start off with my poem for today. It was 3 days after Thanksgiving, and all through the land, not a creature was hopping, and there was no one doing any Black Friday shopping. Everyone had already eaten all the turkey and yams, and they were all ready to listen to AM radio and to quickly become fans. Fans of who, they wondered. Who is this Jim and his guest panel? They all located AM 1510 while they adjusted their furs and their flannel. They were all excited because what besides the Jim Lowenstern Show was late Sundays ever really made for? Real estate open houses? Football games? Nah. Of course, those are happening things as well, but 4 to 5 would soon bring a new way for houses and condos to sell. And even that occasional Boston parking space with price tags astronomically setting the pace. For that next and long overdue cycle in real estate not being reported on by Schiller and Case. So sit back in your seats and pour yourself some Joe and have some fun now. It's the very first Jim Lowenstern talk show.
Very good, very good.
Applause. That deserves
After the
some
long
applause.
weekend, that's not bad at all.
Yeah.
Very good, Jim.
So let's start with Jason.
How are you, sir?
Good. How are you?
Well, not too bad. All rested up after the long weekend.
Yeah. You have a nice Thanksgiving?
We did. Some family and friends over, so it was fun. We needed it.
So let's talk about your lending business. Who do you work for?
Wells Fargo,
And
based in Boston.
Yeah. Lending and banking. Has the marketplace changed any in the last few years?
Just to say the least, yeah, a little bit. Obviously, since the, as we call it now, the crash of 2008, it's changed quite a bit. Obviously, it's a little bit more difficult to folks to secure credit to buy a house or to refinance. But we've been trying to streamline that process as best we can, make it a little bit easier now. And, some of the investors and Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are starting to lighten up just a tad to make it a little bit more streamlined and work with new home buyers and things like that. But it's still difficult, We can't pretend it's not.
So why don't we right into politics for a moment? If you were the president, what would you do to make the real estate market a little healthier these days?
I'm glad you asked. I mean, honestly, I would probably sit down directly with Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac and figure out what we can do to make these mortgage purchases a little bit easier. I think, it's the paranoia that's going around in the marketplace right now that basically it's a pass-through. Fannie and Freddie are worried about their losses that they've taken, and they've taken a bunch. But, let's call a spade, and who deserves some of those losses. But I think if they take some of the pressure off of the larger institutions, the larger lending institutions, then obviously their underwriters and appraisers and attorneys are not going to be as paranoid as getting some of the adjustments that come back on them on the buybacks. So, if you start with Fannie and Freddie, who are basically buying 90% of the mortgages in the country, to stop their, the strictest of the programs, then it's going to get a little bit easier down the road.
Okay, what was the name of that big insurance company that was bailed out?
AIG?
AIG.
Yeah, they insured a lot of those mortgage-backed securities.
So who's insuring all this now?
Not so much them. I mean, I think a lot of those bonds pools have gone away since the crash, essentially, and now we're selling directly to Fannie, Freddie, and obviously FHA is a huge, I would say probably 90% of the mortgages in the country are sold to Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and FHA. And I would say before the crash, that was probably about 40 to 50% of the marketplace.
So who owns all these companies now? Is it the U.S. government?
U.S. government, we do.
So 90% of all mortgages are being bought by the government.
Essentially, and backed and securitized by the government.
And insured by the government.
Correct.
What is the other 10%? Where is that?
Private mortgages, small savings and loans, portfolio stuff, little banks and regional banks holding their own paper, things like that.
How's business in this current market?
It's really, market, if you're asking me on a local level, it's pretty darn busy, actually, with a combination of, Boston, not being hurt as bad overall in the marketplace. We're seeing a lot of first-time home buyers jumping in because, obviously the depressed marketplace, great time to buy. The rates being so low, obviously. And, of course, we're very busy with refinances as well. People who do qualify and have the equity position are taking advantage of these, super low rates, lowest rates we've seen in about 40 years. So we're actually very, very busy. November's probably one of the biggest months I've had in the last 4 to 5 years, actually.
Do you see people pulling cash out, or is it mainly just getting the lower rate?
A lot of rate and term, obviously just, dropping their rate if they can for, a couple of points or even, 3/4 of a point if it makes sense. It really depends on the individual, how much they owe on the mortgage currently. But sometimes it's debt consolidation too, some high-yield credit cards and things like that, and sending their kids to college and things like that. So we're seeing a lot of activity on both sides.
Looks like we're coming up on a break. This is AM 1510, the Jim Lowenstern Radio Talk Show. Please stay tuned. We'll be back in just a moment.
NewEnglandProsperity.org is a nationwide network of carefully selected brokers willing to give both you and your favorite charity a large portion of their commission. These brokers are only too happy to donate to a charity and to credit you back money to help with things such as your mortgage closing costs, title insurance, moving expenses, and more. Go to NewEnglandProsperity.org and sign up. You'll be referred to a broker who will have your interests first and will also credit you and donate to charity. NewEnglandProsperity.org, changing the way America buys and sells real estate.
When you are searching for a new home, you want to be working with a realtor with years of experience, a professional with intimate knowledge of the communities that you are considering moving to, and someone who really wants to represent you as a buyer in what is probably the largest investment you'll ever make in your lifetime. Please visit us at castlesunlimited.com or call us anytime at 800-967-3561. Start your search anytime 24/7 at castlesunlimited.com, and a Castles Unlimited Realtor will get back to you just as fast as possible. Castles Unlimited Realtors, expert advice and quick, informative information on all the listings, not only your local market, but information on properties for sale or rent anywhere in the world. Your Castles Unlimited Realtor is always there to help you with your next move, your next purchase, your next home, or commercial property sale. CastlesUnlimited.com and 800-967-3561. Find your way home with your favorite Castles Unlimited Realtor.
I should take the stairs, but these shoes are so uncomfortable. Today, I am taking the stairs, except this bag is so heavy. I am totally taking the stairs today.
Going up?
Yeah. Shoot, it's 9:08 already?
No one said living healthy was easy. At Tufts Health Plan, we know a healthier you is a work in progress, and we're here to help you every step of the way. Tufts Health Plan. No one does more to keep you healthy.
right, we're back. This is Jim Lowenstern. This is my talk show. Please call with those tough real estate questions. 617-237-1234. You might win that brunch at the Biltmore.
Sounds good.
866-338-9663. And Jennifer Giuliano is here. She's a real estate broker in the Metro West area. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, Jim. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming in. What towns do you cover?
Primarily the Metro West area, Southborough, Westborough, Hopkinton. I do go out to Worcester, and I've literally sold anywhere from Waltham out to Spencer, so I don't limit myself, but I do focus on my hometown area.
How many years have you been in the business?
Going into my 12th year.
Wow. Okay, so you've seen the good times, and now you've seen the, let's say the challenging market.
That's a good way
would
to
say
put
that.
As we've all seen. What would you say the market activity is like in your area right now?
It actually seems fairly steady. Southborough, I'll talk about specifically. It's a small town for those of you who may or may not know where it is, just west of Framingham. Born and bred there. There were probably about 2,000 people when I was there.
It's the crossroads of Massachusetts?
Yeah, just about, I would say, under 10,000 right now. Although it's very easy to get for commuters because we now have the commuter station that goes directly into Boston. It's right on 495 and the Pike. So, a lot of times that people are moving in, they're coming a little bit west because they may not afford, the Boston or Newton area. And, they'll still get a great house at much more reasonable price, comparatively speaking. But our market, right now, we've got about 62 homes on the market. And what I find interesting, actually, is different from last year. Right now, 11 of those houses are actually over $1 million, which is a little bit different from before. However, in the last 12 months, the majority of the sales in Southborough, which is known to be a pretty, affluent town in its own right, were actually in the 300 to 400 range. That were the bulk of the sales, which would surprise some, from that area, thinking that everything is the $1 million range, and that's not necessarily the case. So I would say it's the foreclosures and short sales in that town have actually been very low. Of those 98 sales, I think maybe 3 were short sales and 3 were foreclosures. And interestingly enough, the ones that were foreclosures were a little higher priced than the short sales. The short sales seem to be of the lower price range. So I think maybe the people there realized that they were in trouble, needed to get out, whereas I'm speculating completely, feel that maybe the ones in the higher price ranges, for different reasons, tried to do a loan mod. Sometimes ego gets in the way, and, they ended up foreclosing rather than getting themselves out sooner.
So you see the short sales selling less sometimes than the foreclosures. That's interesting. Is it
less price range?
Is it partly because the seller realizes it doesn't matter, they're not going to walk away with anything at all, and they price it lower because of that?
Not necessarily. When I say they're lower, I specifically mean the price ranges. For example, one of the 3 foreclosures that I've could find in the last year, only one was over 500. The others were below that. So I think that the people, in the 3 to 4 and sometimes even the 200 range, which is not a common range for that town, realized that they were in trouble and wanted to get out, whereas the other price ranges were maybe just wanted to hold on a little longer. But I'm proud to say that that is actually a good statistic to have, where everybody thinks that everything is flooded with short sales and foreclosures. It's real estate. It's local, like what Jason was saying. It's not a weather report for the entire country.
Right. That's true.
So that's it. So I would say it's strong. It's not as fast as it was, say, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, but it's steady.
So sales above $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying like a year ago there weren't any, or there weren't many, and now they're starting to come back?
Right now there are currently 11 on the market. I don't recall there being that many on the market at this same time last year in that price range. The majority of them were maybe the 4 to 6 range. So different reasons for each one, as you well know too. But I think it's interesting that they're now starting to turn around, and I didn't notice any of those houses being short sales or foreclosures, which is a good sign.
That is a good sign in this marketplace. That's a huge factor.
Do you think that people in that price range were holding off?
I do. I think because one of the misconceptions too is that the market's bad. People can't get loans, and to what Jason was saying too, it is much more difficult to get a loan. Although that can be a mixed blessing because honestly, some of the people getting loans before probably shouldn't have been. So
you're being kind, I think.
Yeah.
Let's just say a lot of folks that shouldn't have got mortgages, but yes.
Right. So and they did for whatever reasons. Whether it was on their fault or I won't speak of the reputable lenders, but not all of them were.
Sure.
Generous. They were sometimes too generous.
Of course.
Or they had teaser rates that were so low that everyone jumped in, not realizing that the interest on the loan was really going to be about 12%
Exactly.
in about a year.
Right.
That was probably the real problem. So going back to you, Jason, what would you tell the president to do about all those loans that were not completely reset at this point? Is it better just to wipe them clean? And
that's a loaded question, but I would say that they've tried to do what they can with a lot of that portfolio stuff, the toxic asset program, and obviously incentivizing the larger institutions for the modifications, and that's been hit or miss, I think, in a lot of cases, depending on the lender and how they've handled the modifications going forward. But we have helped a lot of people, reset their loan terms, get out of some of those teaser rates, get out of the adjustable rates, and convert to a fixed rate option. So, but obviously, we could talk for a long time about, how we got into this mess. But yeah, I think we need to continue to educate the consumer as far as how to get help, when to get help, and as we were talking about before, not to kind of bury your head in the sand. It's call your local realtor, call your lender, find out what your options are, call your attorney, and don't wait for the inevitable. Try to address it up front. I think that's the biggest factor there going forward.
So if you had lent, had a mortgage written years ago, do you keep in touch with the old customers and try to help them in their situation if the values have
Sure.
gone down?
Sure. I'd like to. Yeah, I've obviously been doing this for close to 15 years now, and I'd like to think that my consumers and my clients come back to me, and we do try to help them out. Of course, we try to get them the help that they need, address their problem, and it's really on a case-by-case basis. But again, call your local lender, call your mortgage banker, and see what you can do. That's the best advice I can give in this economy right now.
So I'm getting a motion from the control room. You have Mike on the line. Okay, Mike, go ahead. This is Jim Lowenstern.
Hi, this is Mike Phillips calling in from Kansas City.
Oh, fantastic. Let's see. I was listening to your interview today, so I have a lot of questions for you. Mike, just so the listeners know, is, I guess, arguably the number one real estate broker in the entire nation. Would you say that's pretty accurate, Mike?
No, I had a good year for numbers. Number one is very interesting. If you want to judge it purely on sales volume, yep, that was us.
Yeah. So for the listeners and for everyone in the studio, how many houses approximately did you sell last year?
Last year was 1,268 houses.
All by yourself?
Mostly. I have some good administration help that does the data entry. I type with 3 fingers, and it seems like they can type a lot faster.
It's still amazing. I'm going to try to do the math. So that's like 3 or 4 houses a day.
Yeah, we were closing. I was looking at it a month. We were closing over 100 houses a month. And when the year ended, I probably had another 80 or so in escrow.
Okay, so I don't need to ask you how the market is from your point of view. You'd say it was probably pretty good.
Well, it's divided up a lot in my market in Kansas City, Missouri by pricing. And the price that we focused in on to really get the volume was lower-end housing, workforce housing, and that stuff was bought up a lot by out-of-town investors that were putting them right into the rental market after throwing $5,000 or $10,000 into them. So it's interesting. I was listening to your radio show, and they were talking about some $1 million properties. We've had our share of those in the past, but our market is not moved at all in that inventory. And, when you look at less than $100,000 they move very fast. If you look at less than $70,000, they move even quicker. Anything that would be a jumbo loan, $417,000 and up, the market's dead here, completely dead.
Okay, so questions. What did you do before you got into real estate?
I was living in Newport Beach, California, and I was in international business for a consumer electronics company.
And the segue into real estate?
I went away to Vegas for a weekend, and I was trying to sell my house myself. I let this aggressive for sale by owner pursuing realtor list my house for a few days, and he got it sold and made about $30,000 in 3 days. I said, that's not bad. I said, maybe I'll have to give this real estate shop a try.
And how much did you make in Vegas that weekend, Mike?
It was a long time ago. I don't remember.
Okay. All right. So here's a question for you. 1,000+ sales a year. Do you think appraisers or realtors have a better knowledge of the real value of the properties?
Absolutely, the realtors have a better opinion of the value.
Why do you say that?
Because usually when we compare our pricing, when we're listing homes for an entity where we already know that an appraiser's been there, such as a foreclosure home, most of my clients have already had the property appraised. So I know what theirs is, and the banks usually list there first, but the properties usually sell where we have them priced.
Okay. So I'm going to guess, because of the numbers you're doing, REO is probably a major portion of your inventory and sales?
Yes, it was. Last year, it was at least half of my business.
And for the listeners, REO is real estate owned. It's usually owned by banks, would you say?
Yes, all of the properties that we sold last year in our market was owned by banks or by the government, such as something that's owned by HUD, the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development.
So you're dealing with about how many banks, would you say, these days?
I would say our banks are down a little bit. We've had some consolidation, but I'd say we're probably dealing with about a dozen banks.
Mike, we're going into a break. Can you stay with us? We'll be right back with you. This is the Jim Lowenstern radio show here at 1510 a.m. in Boston.
You look and you look through neighborhood after neighborhood. You go up and down streets, into cul-de-sacs, and around every bend. Then one day you slowly pull up and finally see it. Your house. At Wells Fargo, we're with you when you're ready to find the house. In fact, we're with you in every stage of home ownership, from planning to purchasing to well after you own your home. Our free preferred payment plan service is a great example. You can automatically tie your payment schedule to your paydays. It's convenient and completely free. The program may even help you pay off your mortgage faster. Let us help you find the mortgage that fits your needs. Talk with a Wells Fargo home mortgage consultant today. We're ready to help and answer all your mortgage questions. Wells Fargo. Together we'll go far. Wells Fargo Home Mortgage is a division of Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., equal housing lender.
For more information, please contact your local Wells Fargo Home Mortgage consultant, Jason Bonarigo, at 617-363-4617.
The Jeff Santos Show on the Revolution Radio Network. The biggest names in politics.
Congressman Barney Frank.
Outlets like yours are a very important part of this fight where we can get up and tell the truth. So I thank you for always being there.
The best journalists.
The nation's John Nichols.
I've got Santos on my side. I see no chance of defeat.
And your calls.
You know, on a right-wing talk station, I wouldn't even get 2 words out, and I really appreciate it.
The Jeff Santos Show. Part of your progressive revolution. AM 1510. Revolution Boston.
Massachusetts is home to some of the best hospitals in the world. It gives us all peace of mind knowing quality care for our families is available in our communities. The healthcare workers of 1199 SEIU are there every day, every hour, helping, healing, caring for Massachusetts.
We know it takes a team approach to keep our hospitals safe, clean, and to deliver exceptional care.
1199 SEIU caregivers work in the operating room, the emergency room, the clinics, the labs, and more.
Together, as a healthcare team, team. We heal, we comfort, and we care.
Healthcare is changing, and we're reminding legislators that patient care should be a top priority. That means not shortchanging hospitals that care for vulnerable and at-risk patients. It means investing in a fully staffed and properly trained healthcare workforce to keep Massachusetts families healthy and to protect vital jobs in a key part of our local economy.
Please visit voicesofqualitycare.org today.
Proudly presented by the healthcare workers of 1199 SEIU.
Hi, this is Jim Lowenstern. This is my talk show at 1510 a.m. in Boston, Revolution, Boston. And we have Mike Phillips from Missouri, a real estate broker in Missouri, on the line with us. And Mike, I have Jason Bonarigo here. He has a question for you.
Hey, Mike, how are you?
Great, sir.
I was just kind of fascinated to find out what kind of, I know you mentioned the low to mod, but I mean, how is that job market, especially when, we're based in Boston, we hear that the Midwest job market is a little bit difficult. I just found it fascinating to be able to move, 1,200 units, especially in that low to mod or your mid-range home buying market. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Our market is always really strong with workforce housing. In our immediate market right here, we have a Ford plant that's maybe one of their most efficient plants. We also have a GM plant.
Gotcha.
We also have a huge network of railroads. It's one of the biggest railroad hubs in the country. You've also got to look at Google is now launching their Google Fiber, which is internet that's 100 times faster than anywhere else in the world, apparently. And they're launching that here in the next few months.
And they're buying up space as well in that marketplace?
Yes, they're actually on the Kansas City, Kansas side, where most of the time when you hear about things, the Chiefs and the Royals and things,
right.
That's on the Missouri side. But it operates as one big city, yet there's two state lines.
Makes sense. Thank you.
So I have a question, Mike. This is Jim. So you have a second career besides selling 100 properties a month. What else do you do?
I have a few different interests. I own a couple Century 21 offices, and that keeps me pretty busy. I've got 4 children, and we've just had, I have a partnership in an insurance company. Recently, the Missouri River flooded and came out of the banks and basically flooded my wife's restaurant and cigar bar.
Okay.
So that is something that's alleviated some time. Yet around the house, I've got more booze and cigars than you can imagine, which is not a bad thing.
Well, send some to us, would you?
It's a lot of cigars, man.
So you manage the offices also, or is that in the past?
No, I do. And what I did was, I've been the number one realtor 2 years ago, and then I knew last year that I had an unbelievably ridiculous year again. And I told myself in January that I was going to work on switching my business because I keep seeing this market changing. And my job basically is to have a crystal ball and guess where the market's going. So in January, I changed my business around completely. I doubt I'll do 10% of the business that I did last year in my name, yet the company will continue. What I've done is I've taken on protégés and apprentices, and I've empowered them with my tools and systems and let them run amok. And we're doing fantastic. And we're not doing the volume that we used to by design, and our money is exactly almost equal.
All right. Mike, we have a segment on our show called How Well Do You Know Your Real Estate Terms? And we have Elena actually accosting people down on the dock here. We're at a marina. And can you hold on? Because I have a few more questions for you before we let you go. Okay.
No, I'm happy to do it.
Okay, hang in there. Gonna patch Elena in?
Hello?
Hello. Elena.
Yes.
Hi.
This is
So-
Elena.
Yeah, so...
I'm here at the Marina Bay across Boston. Can't really enjoy the views because it's getting foggy, but I'm still meeting very nice people here.
Okay, so who do you have who you're going to quiz today?
Please introduce yourself. Say your name. Hi, my name is Christine.
Hi, Christine. This is Jim. So Elena wants you to answer some questions about real estate. How we want to see how well you know your real estate terminology.
I'll try.
Okay, Elena, what's the term you want defined?
Okay, my question to you is, do you know what the riparian rights?
Ooh, tough one.
Riparian rights.
Riparian rights, is that when you buy a house and they have to repair it if there's something wrong with it?
It's not repair, it's riparian. R-I-P-A-R-I-A-N.
I don't know. So, Jim, do you want to give some clues or hints?
Tell her. Read the definition.
Okay, what I'm going to do...
Oh, well, give her a clue. I mean, it's so, it's obvious now that you're down at the marina.
It should be multiple choice, Jim.
Multiple choice?
Multiple choice. That's got to be fair to our constituency out there.
Give her some choices.
Okay. So, when you look around, what do you see? What do I see? I see condos, and I see a nice restaurant, and I see trees and the ocean.
The ocean. So there's the hint.
The ocean, right. You said the word ocean. Yes, that should give us a clue. Oh.
All right.
Is this right to the water? Water right?
That's it. You got it. Bingo. You got it. So read the definition, please, Elena.
Now I'm going to read the actual legal definition of what it means. The right that an owner of land that borders on river, stream, or waterway has to use and enjoy the water, which is adjacent to the land or flow over it, provided that use does not cause any injury to riparian owner downstream. Oh. So, but you got the simple human definition, simple English. Yeah, right away. It's like a right away.
There you go.
There you go. All right, it's rights to the water, and thank you, Elena. We'll come back to you probably in about 20 minutes.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, we're back with Mike. Mike, you still there?
Oh, yeah. I was excited that I knew the answer. I didn't have to Google it.
I'm glad you know the answer.
Exactly.
So, let's see. I have a question. So I manage a real estate office, and I know what my agents would like me to do, which is not be in the business sometimes. So the question is, do some agents refuse to work for you because you are a competing manager?
No. That's amazing because, some of the other offices here, one of their things is, hey, you don't have a competing broker. And I said, so you want a broker who's not experienced and doesn't know what's going on? And it always catches them by surprise because there's nobody knows the business like someone who's working on it daily. But I don't work with buyers. All I do is I make the phone ring here with the same client base that I've been dealing with for years, and all of my leads and all of the inquiries go straight to the agents here. So I compete only if they are a listing broker on the same level that I am, which there's not too many that are. So
the 12. So yeah, sorry to interrupt. So the 1,200 or so closings, those are all just the selling side, the listing side.
Yes, literally. The year before that, I think I did one buying side.
Okay. So, and on a percentage basis, how many of your sales would be REO?
For myself, 100% of the listings that I sold last year were REO listings.
And so how many asset managers would you be working with at any one time?
Well, some of them revolve, and I would say I probably have to maintain relationships with probably 20.
So let's see. In the beginning, when you were going to be meeting these asset managers, how far would you go to meet them, and how would you begin the relationship?
Usually with an envelope full of cash. No, I'm kidding.
I know you're kidding.
Yeah. What's interesting is there is that side of the business, but I've never seen it or been exposed to it. I've heard of it. But again, I'm lucky enough that my reputation is intact and we're functioning at the level we are. But normally what I tell them is I said, how'd you like never to have to call me? And you just give me an address and I'll take care of everything. I think once you get to the point where you have their attention and you can get one listing, I know myself I'll never have to ask for another listing once they've seen my work.
Very interesting. So what are your thoughts on the real estate market nationwide, if you have any, and where do you think the industry will be in 2012?
I look at a lot of things market-wise. I watch Southern California, I watch Texas, I watch New Orleans and Florida, and of course I watch New England. And I think we're exactly just going to have a repeat of last year. That's basically what I see, or of this year.
So I know a few real estate brokers are probably listening, and I think they would probably want me to ask you this question. When you started in real estate, did you have a fast or a slow start, in your opinion?
I actually earned my first paycheck within 2 weeks, and I challenged my agents with that. I said, there's nothing special about me. I have a GED from a public school. I don't have any more training than you're going to get. What I have is a great memory, and I'm a hustler. And, let me tell you how I got my first check. I drove through a neighborhood, and I wrote down for sale by owner addresses, and I called the guy's phone number. I said, yep, I got my work permit in the mail today. Why do you want to list with me? Because I'm going to work at least 40 hours a week, and I would have nothing else to do but focus in on your house. And the guy's like, wow, I used to be a broker, and I moved, and he says, I don't know how I could say no to you. I've been called 100 times on this house, and you're the one. Send me the paperwork. So I sent him the paperwork overnight. I got it back immediately, and I took a picture of the house, and I made a flyer, opened up the Yellow Pages, drove to every remodeling company and brought them a flyer that I made myself. No one taught me this. No one told me how to do it. And the only reason I bring that up is because it was like pulling teeth to even find out what forms and contracts I needed from the brokers. He thought I was joking around. And within 3 or 4 days, I had the contract wrapped up and sold it to one of the guys. By the time I dropped the flyer off, before I drove 15 minutes back to my office, the guy said, hey, did you drop off this flyer? I thought he was going to yell at me. He said, I'll meet you at the house. He made an offer, and we sold it. And it closed in cash in 10 days.
That's amazing.
Mike, I'll have probably a couple more questions for you after the break. This is the Jim Lowenstern Radio Talk Show at 1510 a.m. in Boston, Massachusetts.
There's a time bomb in your wallet. It's the 5+ credit cards you've been living on that you're barely able to make the minimum payments on. And when the time bomb goes off, it'll put you in a world of hurt. Here's the first sign your time bomb is about to go off. You can barely make your minimum payments. Here's the second sign. The interest rates on your credit cards are as high as 30%. Here's the third time bomb sign. You're getting collection calls and letters. Don't let the time bomb go off. Call the Debt Helpline today. Let us help you get out of credit card debt and turn off the time bomb.
866-484-9612. 866-484-9612. Call Credit Card Relief of America now for your free debt analysis. 866-484-9612. 866-484-9612.
When you are searching for a new home, you want to be working with a realtor with years of experience, a professional with intimate knowledge of the communities that you are considering moving to, and someone who really wants to represent you as a buyer in what is probably the largest investment you'll ever make in your lifetime. Please visit us at castlesunlimited.com or call us anytime at 800-967-3561. Start your search anytime 24/7 at castlesunlimited.com, and a Castles Unlimited Realtor will get back to you just as fast as possible. Castles Unlimited Realtors, expert advice and quick, informative information on all the listings, not only your local market, but information on properties for sale or rent anywhere in the world. Your Castles Unlimited Realtor is always there to help you with your next move, your next purchase, your next home, or commercial property sale. CastlesUnlimited.com and 800-967-3561. Find your way home with your favorite Castles Unlimited Realtor.
Hi, this is Jim Lowenstern. This is the Jim Lowenstern Radio Talk Show, 1510 AM, Revolution, Boston. We're broadcasting from Marina Bay in Quincy, Massachusetts. And we have Mike Phillips from Missouri, #1 broker in the whole country. We're finishing up our segment with Mike. And, Mike, do you offer consulting to banks and asset managers outside of your area, or are you just a local broker?
I actually do, and I participate on boards, and there's a lot of different people that have sought advice, and I love helping people out and finding solutions and ways to improve it. I'm an efficiency freak, and that's one of the reasons, I managed over 2,000 transactions last year, yet my own personal production on listings was, 1,200. So I do best when I'm multitasking and I'm working on a lot of different things.
So would you say networking with realtors is part of your business model?
Huge. It's the most important. Everything good that's come from me in real estate has been as a result from networking with other broker owners and salespeople.
Do you see anyone anywhere who is your competition? It looks like you're one of a kind.
I'm hoping it's one of the people that I'm training right now.
Really, in your office?
Yes.
Okay. So, any last thoughts for us, Mike? We really do appreciate you coming on the air with us today.
You've got to make sure that you're efficient, motivated, and always smile when you're on the phone, because people can hear that come through. It really will open a lot of doors for you.
And let me just see if anyone else has a question. Jennifer, Gina, Jason,
good.
Jim, we're all J's. Yeah. How's that? Well, thanks again, Mike, and hopefully we can have you on again in the future. We really appreciate you calling in today.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you
so much. Bye.
Take care.
Okay, so Jennifer, back to you. What is the biggest misconception that consumers have about the market right now, in your opinion?
In my opinion, as I mentioned earlier, I think the media as a whole sometimes will pick up all of the negativity of the media, of the market, and that those little blips of information that come in on whether they're commercials or just newspaper or Facebook, social media, television, they get ingrained in people's head, and they see things about foreclosures and short sales, and they think that the whole market has just hit bottom. I mean, I can't go anywhere, tell someone I'm in real estate, and that was their first question is, are we at the bottom? And I mean, you're really never there. You never know when you're there till you're on your way up. I don't think.
I agree. Yeah.
So one of them, that there aren't any 20% down buyers out. I get that question a lot. And I mean, I've had multiple buyers in the last couple of years that were 20% down or were cash, and what you would call, Jason, like a paper clients. So the or things that people aren't having multiple bidding wars. Just this past summer, I had one client who literally was in about 8 bidding wars. Finally, the one that she got, I saw it about an hour after it came on the market, told her we're just going out at 1 o'clock and don't even think about playing with that
price.
Bring
your checkbook.
Right. So, I mean, she's not the only example. I mean, I would still say the buyers out there that are qualified to buy are good ones. Not everybody is a 5% or 3% down buyer. There are plenty of them, and I'm, happy for them too, because they do make up, a good portion of the market. But I think, that it's a bad time to buy, or that it's a bad time for the real estate. And it's not, because if you're buying a house, if you're selling a house and you want to buy one, I would rather somebody sell one now, especially if they have equity, and then go over and buy something at a lower cost than what they will later. Because if they wait for the market to turn, as they think, they'll be selling it higher, but they'll also be buying it higher, and you need to remind them of that sometimes. So,
right.
It goes both ways. I would rather buy something low, than be selling high and buying high.
Or if they could afford to rent out the current property and buy in this market, do you recommend that they do that?
Only in certain cases, if it makes sense for them, yeah. If it makes sense for them to they don't want to manage it, or if they realize that it's not something they want to undertake, or maybe they really do need all of that money to go into the next home. It really is on a case-by-case basis. I have had people who have rented it out, and they're okay with it. Others they just need to sell it.
It's not for them. They don't want to be landlords. Yeah,
right. And I
really
can't say I blame them.
It's client by client. You're right.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely.
And what are the biggest challenges you're currently facing in transactions over the, let's say, last year?
That's a twofold question, and as much as I love my agent community, and some of them will understand this, sometimes it's the expectations of buyers or sellers or the agents. Because especially if I'm a listing agent, I don't have any direct contact with that buyer. I need to rely on the communication with their agent to tell them what I'm saying to them, during the negotiation or about whatever it might be. If that buyer agent is new, and we were all new once, or maybe they're misunderstanding something, or they're just not as thorough as they should be, if they're setting their buyer's expectation up incorrectly and it affects our side of that transaction, that's extremely frustrating. If they come to me and I tell them, this is a failed septic right up front, and they come to me with a VA or an FHA loan expecting to get a loan, that's very frustrating.
Is that a problem?
Yeah,
that's not at all.
Obviously there are loans that can help those things, but if they're not up on that, or if they're not paying attention to those kind of major details, and I've had agents tell me, well, that's up to the attorney and the loan officer. No, it's not. To explain to your buyers.
Where you're getting lowball offers and they're challenging your asking price.
Sometimes. I wouldn't say that as much, because I try to set my sellers' expectations on the flip side as well as I can too. They may be in a position where probably one of my longest listings and one of my best referral sources, so they heard this, they wouldn't mind. They understood, the children understood that the property was at a certain market value. Their father was elderly, and 6 years ago an agent told them that it was worth a certain amount, and it probably was at that time, but that was the number stuck in their head, and it took a year for that property to sell. Didn't want to take advice on staging, didn't want to take advice on pricing.
Strategic pricing was not something that they had any interest in. Just let's wait it out, someone will eventually come.
Right, and they did, and they were 20% down and sold very quickly at that time, but it took a year of finally them getting it to realize that, just because they want a price doesn't mean they have it. No.
Did they keep lowering the price, or eventually someone just made an offer?
Both. Yeah. So I like to set their expectations up. I don't like to overpromise somebody if, the numbers don't lie. Although what Mike was saying earlier about the appraisers and the realtors, I do try to get them to a price where at least I know it's going to appraise and not be a problem later for people like Jason.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thanks, Jennifer. We'll go into another break. It's the Jim Lowen Stern Radio Talk Show, 1510 a.m. in Boston, Massachusetts.
NewEnglandProsperity.org is a nationwide network of carefully selected brokers willing to give both you and your favorite charity a large portion of their commission. These brokers are only too happy to donate to a charity and to credit you back money to help with things such as your mortgage closing costs, title insurance, moving expenses, and more. Go to NewEnglandProsperity.org and sign up. You'll be referred to a broker who will have your interests first and will also credit you and donate to charity. NewEnglandProsperity.org, changing the way America buys and sells real estate.
America's never been more overweight or obese, and the FreshAndHealthy.org Foundation is devoted to replacing junk food vending machines everywhere with healthy vending machines. Hey, listen, I want everyone who owns or manages a business, school, hospital, YMCA, health club, you name it, listen to this. Here is a way for you to make extra money and help your customers, students, or employees be happy and healthy with no investment. You can get a fresh, healthy vending machine placed in your location today, and it's free. A colorful, dual temperature control vending machine just loaded with delicious 100% fruit juices and yogurts, smoothies, and other healthy foods and snacks. It's at your location, and it's free? Now, that's what you call one of those no-brainers, right? Terms and conditions apply. If you operate a location and want a free, fresh, healthy vending machine and share the revenue, call right now. 800-424-8282. 424-8282. That's 800-424-8282.
You look and you look through neighborhood after neighborhood. You go up and down streets, into cul-de-sacs, and around every bend. Then one day you slowly pull up and finally see it. Your house. At Wells Fargo, we're with you when you're ready to find the house. In fact, we're with you in every stage of home ownership, from planning to purchasing to well after you own your home. Our free preferred payment plan service is a great example. You can automatically tie your payment schedule to your paydays. It's convenient and completely free. The program may even help you pay off your mortgage faster. Let us help you find the mortgage that fits your needs. Talk with a Wells Fargo home mortgage consultant today. We're ready to help and answer all your mortgage questions. Wells Fargo. Together, we'll go far. Wells Fargo Home Mortgage is a division of Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., equal housing lender.
For more information, please contact your local Wells Fargo home mortgage consultant, Jason Bonarigo, at 617-363-4617.
You're listening to the Jim Lowenstern Talk Show on AM 1510 Boston. We're going to go to real estate news now with Gina Jordan, who's sitting here in the studio with us. Gina, it's all yours.
Hi, Jim. This is your real estate news brought to you by CastlesMag.com. Home prices and mortgage rates have fallen so far that the monthly cost of owning a home is more affordable than at any point in the past 15 years and is less expensive than renting in a growing number of cities. But real estate agents and economists say that the trend hasn't boosted demand. That is because affordability alone hasn't been enough to overcome the obstacles in the way of a housing recovery. In other news, the federal government is cracking down on scammers who target struggling homeowners looking to lower their monthly mortgage payments. Hundreds of con artists have been taking advantage of victims through online advertisements on search engines Google, Bing, and Yahoo, promising to help homeowners modify their mortgages through the government-run program known as the Home Affordable Modification Program. Last week, the agency that investigates fraud, waste, and abuse in the government's Troubled Asset Relief Program announced that it has shut down 85 scams that were advertising on Google. Then on Monday, it announced it had halted another 125 shady advertisers on Yahoo and Microsoft's Bing search engine. This has been Real Estate News brought to you by CastlesMag.com.
I should just say that I had my loan modified, and I paid for it, and it wasn't a scam. Wasn't a scam.
It can be a good thing.
Yeah.
No question about it.
So we've been eating cookies. I definitely want to give a shout out to
I was just going to ask you who made these delicious cookies.
White Lion Baking Company in Brookline, Massachusetts. They're made without any flour. It's gluten-free, and they're pretty darn good.
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah. So let's go back to Jason.
Yes, sir.
So, what do you think? Is this a good time for people to look into home ownership, even with the economy where it is right now?
Well, it really is on a case-by-case basis, as Jennifer was talking about earlier, but it's definitely worth looking into. There's no question it's a great opportunity to look at a property in your local towns and neighborhoods that may have been, overpriced over the past couple of years, and it's a great opportunity with rates being so low. It's just about, again, talking to your local real estate partner, talking to your local banker, and running the numbers and really getting educated on the marketplace. And so you have all the facts and figures and an educated choice. I mean, that's the thing right now. But I believe it is a great opportunity, yeah. Sure.
So 30-year rates?
Well, again, case by case, that's where lending has really changed. It's really on the individual credit score, equity position, the debt to income as far as kind of what they're making on a monthly basis combined by their overall debt picture. But broad strokes, you're anywhere from low 4s to high 3s on the 30-year fixed and low 3s on the 15-year fixed. So rates are phenomenal.
What about jumbo rates? Where are they at what amount does that start off?
As Mike was saying earlier, 417 is pretty much the national average of that single family limit. There is a high balance issue as well to 465, but basically anytime you get over the 450 range, you're talking about a jumbo loan. But the jumbo loans, the rates have been pretty good. They've come back in the past year and a half, and those are pretty attractive and in the 4s as well for qualified buyers, obviously.
Okay, so Jennifer, want to tell us what the difference is between a licensed real estate agent and a realtor?
Good question. as many often mispronounce it, realtor is a trademark designation.
It's not realtor?
No. Trademark designation from the National Association of Realtors. Every licensed real estate agent is not a realtor, although every realtor is a licensed real estate agent. Basically, an agent who has completed ethics training every 4 years and subscribes to a code of ethics nationally that, with their individual boards, is different than just an agent having a license out on the street. So, if there were ever an issue with one realtor to another, they could bring it to an arbitration or mediation, whereas if it's somebody who's a non-realtor, they wouldn't have that advantage. So it's definitely a designation that every agent should have, in my opinion. And I can say that I am one.
This time of year when the bill's coming due for the dues, great time to market for the Mass Association of Realtors. You ever call up a real estate company where they're not realtors and ask whoever picks up the phone, can I speak to a realtor? Oh, are you a realtor?
No, but I've run into situations where I wish that the other one was a realtor, because then I could have had some kind of recourse with the way that they were acting in their transaction.
Right.
Needless to say.
Yeah, we get that.
So, Jennifer, what's the best advice you can give a consumer considering buying or selling?
Just be prepared. Don't jump into it if you don't think that you couldn't buy something. And like I said, just talk to a loan officer or realtor ahead of time, even if you're looking to move 6 months to a year down the road.
Good advice. Thank you, Jason Bonarigo.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Jennifer Giuliano.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you, Gina Jordan.
Thank you.
And thanks to Elena Fain out on the dock in front of Marina Bay. We lost Elena. She never came back.
Hopefully she's coming from the weather there.
I hope she's okay.
Discussing.
We'll see you next week, 4 to 5. It's the Jim Lowenstern Radio Talk Show.
My 12-year-old Jamil, he suffers from asthma. If he ever got the H1N1 flu, it could seriously threaten his life.
African Americans with chronic health conditions such as diabetes, asthma, heart or kidney disease are at greater risk for contracting life-threatening complications from H1N1. The safest protection recommended by the CDC is vaccination. H1N1 can cause serious health issues, including pneumonia, dehydration, or even death.
Not getting vaccinated puts you and your family in harm's way. Why would anyone do that?
Be vigilant. Get yourself and the ones you love vaccinated. Know the facts. The seasonal flu vaccine protects against common flu viruses, but only an H1N1 flu shot can protect you from H1N1. Visit flu.gov and find a flu shot near you. It's the safest step, it's effective, and it's readily available.
Spread the word, not the flu. Be the one to protect your family against H1N1.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and the Department of Health and Human Services.